Welcome to your favorite social media program, The Buzz. I am Rose Blossom. Of course, today is exciting because we're talking about things that are interesting and, of course, are functioning well for that would function well actually for Nigerians. And there are good news actually. We have good news. Well, people say it's not good news. It feels like a Christmas gift, which could be taken back. But of course, yes, it's still a good news. I have my co-host with me, Covenant. Hi, Covenant. Good afternoon.
Hi, Rose Blossom. Good afternoon. So I forgot to tell you that you look really good.
Oh, thank you.
I can smell Christmas from here.
Christmas is everywhere.
It is everywhere. Good afternoon, dear viewers. How are you doing today? Trust you're very well. And yes, like Rose Blossom said, you're welcome to The Buzz, our favorite or your favorite social media program. And yes, we're just going to delve into the topic for today. And while I leave Rose Blossom to introduce the guests for today.
Okay, yes, we have our Zoom guest joining us already. Hopefully, due to traffic, we'll have a studio guest join us pretty soon. But his name is Prince Chilaka Francis. He's a social worker and a social commentator. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to the show. And thank you so much for holding up for us.
Good afternoon, Prince.
Compliment for the season.
Okay. Thank you so much for doing. Okay, we're just going to go into our topic because already, like I always say, time is fast spent.
Yes.
So, Covenant, over to you.
All right, Tinubu's 50% transport reduction scheme may begin Tuesday. The proposed 50% interstate transport fare price slash by the federal government initially planned to commence on December 2024 may now begin on December 24. The slash is targeted at cushioning high transport costs during the Yuletide. The government said it would pay 50% of their transport fare of the travelers as it commenced free rail transportation for citizens on December 28, 2024. This gesture, according to the Director of Press and Public Relations, Federal Ministry of Transportation, Olujimi Oyetomi, was part of a broader effort of President Bola Tinubu to provide transportation palliatives for Nigerians celebrating the Christmas and New Year. The ministry's publicist explained that in the arrangement, passengers departing from Abuja and Lagos, Oshodi to various destinations across the country would pay only half the usual fare. This is a good news, is it not?
It's a good news, but honestly, I do not know if that is true. But trust me, we have Prince.
Yes,
definitely
yes.
Analyze that situation, and of course, would confirm if that is to be true from him. Prince, please, what's your reaction to this 50% slash reduction of price, transmission price, starting as today, which is Tuesday? What's your take?
Well, this is not the first time we're hearing of this. I guess the last time we couldn't get one person that enjoyed it. So we hope that this one will be different. But then, truth be told, this is not what Nigerians are asking for. Our government needs to change this mindset of doing some surgery when they don't need to. People are asking for a conducive environment for them to earn, a minimum wage and for them to earn living for themselves. If government had done the right things, I don't think this kind of palliative will come up or people will be rejoicing about it. But what can we say? At the end of the day, you still find out that some people in government are probably going to divert the funds for themselves and leaving the Nigerians who are meant to benefit home and dry.
Okay, all right. I think Prince has finished talking, but the truth of the matter is, if actually this is going to be a gift for us,
yes,
they'll be taking it back. And from what Prince said, this is not the first time people would
exactly
actually be hearing this type of thing, and before you know, by January, reversal is the case. Now let's even talk about the fuel price, which they say is now at 935 naira, which is from today again. Everything is just starting on Tuesday. I think it's basically for the Christmas.
Basically
but
for the Christmas.
It stays. I hope that plan to slash transportation and of course this price change from 1,040 naira, 30 naira, 20 naira, 100 naira, 200, depending on the state of the country that you are. They've slashed it down to 935. So I think this is one of the first time we've had things go high,
yeah, and then
come
down.
But Prince, what's your take about this? Do you actually think this is here to stay? Maybe basically because of what is working underneath, you think this price will stay, or do you even believe it will really come down again? Because as yesterday, speaking about this with a Zoom guest, he also said the same thing, that it seems more like a Christmas gift. It's more like a thing that it might not come down, but hopefully we believe that whatever they are doing to put in place is not just paying for subsidy for this time, that by next year there will also be a reduction, and hopefully more reductions will keep happening both in transportation and in food. But do you actually believe this is what's happening, or you have something else to say?
I think for me it's more like a Greek gift, because how come all this while Nigerians have been crying and shouting, nobody thought it wise to reduce the pump price? You know, even when Nigerians were telling Dangote that, look, this is not what we envisaged when we were told that your refinery was going to come on stream. But be that as it may, I don't think it is something people should be too happy for now. Let us watch and see what happens in the new year. You know, Nigeria is a country where the new year, depending on speech he gives, things can get better or things can get worse. But I think that, yes, between NMPC and Dangote, let the price war continue. But I think it should get better. If by the time we talk of petrol being at 200, 300, 400, then we know that, yes, you know, the government is ready, willing, and listening to the Nigerian people. Other than that, for me right now, you know, nothing moves me as a Nigerian. I just believe that, you know, those who have put there, those who have elected, they just take us for granted. That's just it.
Okay. You have a question?
Yes. So this question is regarding the first question Rose Blossom asked about, you know, the reduction of transportation. But don't you, Prince, don't you think the government right now is being sensitive to the needs of the Nigerians? Because normally a lot of people are supposed to travel for Christmas, so most people or some persons might not, you know, have so much money to travel out or to travel for Christmas. So don't you think the government is being sensitive right now? Yeah, we don't know, we're not very sure if this thing would stay, you know, once it's January, but don't you think they're being sensitive right now? And if they are sensitive, can't we give them an accolade for being sensitive right now to the needs of the Nigerians?
When you say being sensitive, if government was going to be sensitive, don't you think that this kind of gesture would have come before now? People have paid a lot of money, 50,000, 60,000, go to their homes. So what difference is it going to make? Consider the number of people that have traveled, the number of people that we believe might travel, because today is Christmas Eve. You know, so you don't do something just because you think you want to do it. You do something when people need it the most. Those who wanted to travel have all traveled. They've paid high prices for their trips. So, of what use is this right now? And I'm talking about this rail. Is it not shameful that all the rail systems, none is working in the southeast? None. So I think government should think out of the box. In order to reach out to the ordinary Nigerians, they should start thinking out of the box.
Okay, it's very important.
It is.
We need to start thinking outside of the box. Okay, we have our studio guest. We'll have to get him seated. So we'll have to take a short break on that, so that when we come back, of course, we'll have him react to the two topics we've talked about and get his own side, his own reaction, basically. And of course, he's also a very good analyst. So let's take a short. All right, welcome back. Yes, you're still watching The Buzz, your favorite session of the program, and of course, I am here, and we have come here, and now we have a studio guest seated. His name is Chris. Asilumi. He's also an analyst, a very good analyst, I must say, and he's about to shake the table.
Thank you.
He agrees, they do not agree on one thing. So it's amazing. So the topic we're having, we talked about the Tinubu's 50% slash on transport, and also the 935 naira per litre, which of course has commenced. Both has actually commenced as of today, and moving forward, we're hopeful that it remains and it stays. So, but we want to know what your thought is. Well, let me judge a little bit on what Prince said. Prince says he hopes that this is something that is here to stay, and he believes he does not want to believe this is a Christmas gift. But if we look at the history, it's always like that. Then after Christmas or after New Year, it goes back to the normal, and before you know, there's also increase and increase and increase. So, what's your take?
Okay, so where am I starting from? Is it the transport or the...
Start with the transport, then down to the petrol. Okay,
fine. Yeah, with the transport situation, yeah, some kind of a giveaway. It's for a start, it's what Mr. Prince saying, acknowledging that there's hardship in the town. Nobody can deny that. Even the dead will know. All right, there's hardship in town, and people need to move traditionally, you know, Christmas and all of that. So the president is in a way saying that, look, let us give you a little lifting to make your movement a bit easier. Times are tough, the economy is tough and all of that. So for me, to so many people, it will be some kind of great help, great support. So for those number of people, it's a big deal. And it's a good gesture. It's not taking anything away from us. So it's adding to the public, and people will say, okay, people are still on Granolado, that's something else. But it is about helping people to move, travel as they would love to, and all of that. And I think, well, it's commendable because for the people that will benefit from it, beautiful. But
so I think it's a sensitive idea from the government.
Oh yeah, it is. It is. Anything that helps the people, because like I said, it's not taken away from the people. Yeah. It's only adding to them one way or the other. You might want to discuss the number of people that will benefit from it, or to what extent it will impact them. That's secondary, but primarily it is given to the people. Some people are going to benefit greatly from it. I'm not traveling, so I'm part of in that circle. But too many people that will be benefiting from that, from a free train ride, 50% cost in a motor, you know, transportation, and all of that. I think it's a wonderful idea that the government is thinking about supporting people in one way or the other. It's sensitive.
It's very sensitive. Okay. Yeah. Then as for the fuel and the transportation.
Now for the fuel, yeah. Two ways. For now, it might just be the Father Christmas spirit in the air. You understand? So that might be it. We can't run away from that. But what we have also seen is that the kind of competition that is jacking in. We see that Dangote is dropping his price. NNPCL is responding. You understand? And we're going to see that. So by the time NNPCL now increasing capacity, all right, then we're going to take Dangote, you know, into the run and all of that. And Nigeria will be the beneficiary, you know, for this. For me, I'm excited about it because it's a pointer to the beauty ahead. Because by the time it is running and the price are dropping without subsidy, that for me is the winner. You understand? Because before now, you know, we spent trillions, and then the president barriers came out, and there's not even a dime on subsidy. For me, I'm excited about that. Now, of course, people have said, even abroad, they still pay one subsidy, government pay subsidy for one thing or the other. And I say to people, the Western nations that pay subsidy on stuff like that, these are people that over the years, they've been able to structure and institutionalize that prosperity. So they can afford to do that. But we're talking about in Nigeria. This government inherited a system that was paying 98% of a revenue to service debt. Presently paying 68% to service debt. That this kind of nation cannot afford the subsidy we are expecting. You understand? So it's about time that we sit down and then face our realities, and then we grow from there. By the time we get to the point we're going to, yes, we cannot do the largesse.
But what is our reality?
Our reality is that Nigeria is broke. That's our reality.
Nigeria has money.
No, Nigeria is broke. When we look at our revenue, we are struggling. We are struggling to raise revenue to power the kind of budget we want to do. We are struggling to raise finance to do stuff and all of that. Nigeria is broke. Many people are not believing this. So they think we can afford the subsidy. We can't afford the subsidies. We can't afford it. However, there are leakages here and there. But, you know, recovery and fighting corruption is not like this. You know, it's something that takes time. You can fight, you know, the system will fight back and all of that. So, but our present reality is that Nigeria as a nation is broke.
Okay, so I want to ask, based on the slash of transport and food. Now, what my concern is not just even about the transport, is the food.
Yeah.
Do you think this slash in price of transport and, of course, fuel would have any effect at all on the food prices in any way before they surprise us again and the price goes up?
Ideally, the excuse the business, the traders in the food, business chain, the excuse they give is that fuel is high and dollar is high, and that justify their reason for upping their prices and all of that. But we've seen that that's just a smoke screen, because now, at least temporarily, the PMS is dropping, and dollar a bit. Okay, fine. So you will expect that the food prices will drop too. But no, it's not. It's actually getting higher. And this is because we have the businessmen in the middle chain of the business food supply are mindless. They are all out to maximize profits.
So you think they are the problem?
Yeah, of course they are the problem, not actually the farmers. So there's a chain lot of cause of this, but the main problem we have is the middlemen, the business guys in the food supply chain. They are they are maximizing profits, and then unfortunately, Mr. President said in his first presidential media chat yesterday that he does not believe in price control, and I am totally against that. I'm totally against that.
I was going to come to that. We're going to play videos because he actually said that. But first, I want to get Prince's reaction to the food hike, which of course is still happening, and like you said, is even doubling from the price it was before. So Prince, do you actually think that this in any way can actually reduce the price of food outside there? And of course, because if it's actually doubling, like we say, then by January, when it's even increased, when the fuel goes back probably to the normal price, we might not even be able to eat one square meal a day. Prince, what's your reaction?
It's very laughable. When people say that, they are talking as if they are not Nigerians and as if they don't live in the country. This is a country where we have APC has been in power, and APC government, and somebody will tell me the government is broke. If APC government is broke, it means that Buhari's government was a colossal failure. And if it is so, why is it that Buhari has not been called to book? Why is it that he has not been probed? Is it that we're in a country where we don't probe those who hand over power to us? So if people say Nigeria is broke, and Nigeria is broke, the president in the middle of Nigeria being broke, he bought a presidential jet, he bought a escalator, and people are saying Nigeria is broke. You spent 21 billion naira furnishing the house of your vice president. You bought fleet of cars for the senators and the honorable members. And somebody will sit on air and tell me Nigeria is broke. Why is it that we're always giving excuses for our leaders? We must put our leaders on the spot. We must call them to accountability. Mr. President cannot be asking Nigerians to be patient, to deal with him, to tighten their belt, to off their lights. Yet, he's living an affluent life. I mean, this whole thing is completely unacceptable. In a sane society, it's unacceptable. Mr. President should go and find out what is happening in Argentina. What is the president of Argentina doing? This is the president that promised us that he was going to look at the Colossal report and implement it. Rather than implementing it, he is having a very bogus government. So if you want people to believe in you, and if you want people to follow you as a good leader, you must be a role model. You must lead in front, not leading from the back. So if the whole idea of cutting fuel prices, as it is right now, like I said, for me it is a great gift. And we know that in Nigeria, whatever goes up takes a lot of time to come down. You do not expect that because NPC and Dangote suddenly brought down their prices by a difference of 100 naira or 80 naira or 70 naira, and you expect that the price of transport will come down immediately. It's not possible. Don't forget that people are using old stock for now. It is until they finish their old stock, then they will go back to the market to see what the market is saying.
Yeah.
This is common sense. It doesn't work. It's not something we need to debate about. But yes, everybody wants the price to come down. But like I said, anybody saying that government cannot afford subsidy is not being sincere to Nigerians. We've been asking questions that nobody has answered. What is the landing cost of petrol in Nigeria? That is one. Two, what is our consumption? How can you say because of 10 people who have been benefiting from the scam they call subsidy, you are punishing 200 million Nigerians? So who are those people who have been benefiting from the scam they call subsidy? Are they not being prosecuted? We can't fight corruption by glossing over it. No way. You fight corruption headlong. And until we have a system that punishes people for crime, the whole mess we're in will definitely continue even into the new year.
Okay, thank you very much, Prince. I know you have something to say, Chris, but before we do that, I want us to watch two videos back to back, and this has to do with both the food that we're talking about and, of course, the fact where you said the president actually made a speech. And the part we picked out was where he said, my friend had to dump his 5 Rolls Royce for Honda after the fuel price hike. Of course, and he says that his policies are making people learn management. President Tinubu is teaching us how to be a manager. But anyways, after that video, we'll also play the next video would be where they had the food empowerment just yesterday at I think that should be at a station just right here in alongside Keja around 8 a.m. That's the 21st of December, and it was jam-packed as early as 5 a.m. Now that video was taken as early as 5 a.m. and people are not even scared of the stampede that's been occurring, taken from the queen, the former queen of Ooni of Ife, and of course the other one that happened at Abuja. Then some of the stampedes that have been going on back to back, and people are not still scared with the news flying, and it has to be there as early as 5 a.m. Probably some people didn't, they just had to be at that spot just to get maybe 1 or 2 derrick of rice, because I do not know how many food stuff they were going to share. But let's first check Tinubu's video. Then we watched that video where we had people, you know, so many crowd basically just there to get food. We'll be right back.
Monopoly, no oligopoly. You have a free market economy flow, and people are learning management. My friend used to have about, he bragged to me he has 5 Rolls Royce. He brought energy here. The other day, I saw him in his Honda. I called. Oh, so I said, that's where you put me. I said, I didn't put you there. He said, that is because of fuel prices. He could no longer maintain 5 limo type of vehicles. It's not negative to learn to manage. You learn to control your electricity bill. Switch off the
3 a.m. I can't believe this. I can't believe this. I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe this is happening. In Nigeria. In Nigeria. I got surprised. I got me after 5 lawa. I got me lawa yoti queue. I got me low. I did 3 o'clock lawa yoti 1B. Jesus. No say one man. What is the surprise? Jesus Christ of Nazareth. This is bad. I go me no like what? After 6. I go be on TQCB.
All right, welcome back. Now that's the video, and we just want us to we try as much as possible to be quick with the reactions because I know a lot has to be said about the two videos. So what's your take now? You already said you're not comfortable with the president saying that on a live TV, and of course the people are listening, and of course you heard the one behind the camera where we had a colleague saying that you have to lead by example. When you came to Lagos and you had about 60 entourage, with you, and of course the fuel we all know is free. It's probably not being paid for. Even if it's paid for, there's an amount that is stipulated for that, which is still not leaving according to what you said it should leave. And while I was cracking that joke, I could see the people sitting around me all giggling. But for me, if I'm President Tinubu and a friend tells me that, trust me, I won't even believe it. That you dropped your 5 Rolls Royce to go with a Honda. But that's him. Maybe he's trying to cite an example. So I want to know about what you think about that part, and of course what you wanted to react to earlier on. Then also the food, where people had to not get afraid about the stampede that could happen, loss of life that could actually go wrong with that, and still come out just to get food.
Okay, I don't know where to start from, but let me pick it from the president's friend that said he dropped his 5 Rolls Royce to go on the. Now the chairman of Buhari recently said when the reform started and all of that, it was quite challenging, but things are looking good now and all of that. So if someone at the capacity of the chairman of Buhari, and then the same man is running refinery, build refinery in Akwa Ibom now, if he could acknowledge the challenge in the reform and all of that, so it goes to tell you that yet everyone was affected. The rich, the middle class, the poor were all affected by the reform. So the president will as well be right on that. Now, that's by the way. Now, let me quickly just revisit what was said before we went on break. I think we can do better than rhetorics. We can do better than that, because we can't be emphasizing Nigeria can afford subsidies in the tune of 6 trillion, 7 trillion, while in this present, in the budget, 2025 budget, there is 15 trillion deficit. That means we don't know where to get 15 trillion. We're going to borrow 15 trillion to fund the budget, and you're still advocating that despite the fact that we're borrowing 15 trillion to fund the budget, we should add another 6 trillion or 7 trillion for subsidy to that. Doesn't make economical sense. No! We should appreciate where we are. It's simple. When the government came in, it was transparent. Everybody saw the papers that this government was paying 98% of its revenue to service debt, meaning that he had just 2% of his revenue to work with. What do you call that? Do you call that a prosperous nation? It's clear and clear. That's a broke nation. Okay, about 3 months, the president worked hard to cut that service burden to 68%, and that's good news. All right, that is our reality. That is our reality. Why can't us accept our reality and walk around that? So we cannot afford the subsidy as at now. So what did we do? Mobilize ourselves, gather around it, and then what we need to work out till we get to that point, then we can do it. But for now, we can't. So going about that will be tapping into the future of the next generation and be sucking it dry. We can't afford it now. Let's accept that and then move on. Okay, let's all pay the price, and then we cannot challenge those in power that look, you need to lead by example. We can hold them to account on that. That's what we should do. We should all come to that commonsensical understanding that we can't afford subsidy. What we need to then do is how to institutionalize accountability of those in government, so we can hold them accountable to the point that they will not be able to go on there and then run on rampage, national wealth and all of that. We need to do that. That should be the talk on the table. Now for me, I'm excited. Just about 2 weeks ago, and ExxonMobil invested $10 billion in the economy. Shell invested $5 billion, and the investments are coming. So it's looking up and it's looking good. All right. So for me, I'm about that, and I'm sure it's going to go. Now, Mr. President talk about management. The truth is this: somewhere along the line, there's a miscommunication. There's a gap in communication about communicating to Nigerians the reality of where we are, how we need to live, and what we should do. Where we are now as a nation, like the president said, we need to learn management. That's a fact. because we are reforming, we are resetting as a nation. We are retooling as a nation. We cannot afford to live at the level we used to because things are not the same. Now we must downsize on our lifestyle. Yeah. That's a reality as a nation and as a people. So people is telling you learn management, but maybe that has to be well said, put into orientation message and all of that for us to really understand it. Yeah, you understand? Because the truth is this: when we're running on estimated billing, you can leave your money for all day and all of that. It really doesn't matter. But now that you're using prepaid, you manage how you use your life. It's as simple as that. I lived abroad. You don't stay about you leave your lights running. No, you don't do that. You can't do that because the cost of power supply is expensive. So you cannot afford to joke around it. So you manage it. When you learn to manage stuff like that, you manage. If you're running on 2 cars, step on 1. Things like that. So you just learn management. That's how you can cope with this period and all of that. Then we survive. But the thing is, there's a place for leadership, for example. That's a powerful example. Yes. That's important. But we must get the message and understand the message. It is true that we need to manage our lifestyle for now too, because things are not the same. Like somebody jokingly said, in this Hamatan, you are running AC. If code is not catching you, it's band A not touching you. You understand? I mean, it's commonsensical. Yeah. For me now, my floodlights outside, I don't put it on. I basically just to cut the cost of my, so I don't put it on. If I'm running gen, I put it on. If I'm not running gen, I leave it blank. You understand? And I've cut out of so many things just to reduce what I do. You understand? Because you need to understand, and that was even before the project came on here to say about management. I have adjusted my, because I know what I mean. Over 20,000 naira on fuel every month to fuel gen and all of that, and you tell me that I would need to be told to the management.
Okay, let's talk about the stampede. It's not even a stampede, basically. We've not heard anything about that. But the way the hunger is in the land, and people are they don't care about their lives.
There are 2 things to it. Okay. There is hunger and there is greed. You can be sure that many of the people that are there have no reason to be there. Such gathering should have been for the poor of the poor. Let them have it. For some people, there is greed in our system. You want to have more. Just have more. And then they choke the space and all of that. And that's what happens. Of course, yes, there's poor management in terms of planning and all of that. But trust me, it is a combination of hunger and greed. Hunger and greed.
Okay, all right. Because of our time, I will still want Prince to say something or wrap up. Prince, what's your reaction to, of course, what the president has said in saying he's teaching us how to learn management, and of course the food, where we had a lot of people, gather somewhere despite forfeiting the fact that there could be a stampede and their life could be at stake. And of course, heard what Chris has said in the studio. But what's your own take? What's your reaction or analysis on this matters?
All right. Chris has said that the government is spending 8% servicing debt. But then, Chris has not also come to the realization that while they are spending that amount servicing debt, have they stopped borrowing? You're servicing debt in one hand, and you're still borrowing on the other hand. What is the sense behind it? If you believe that you want to get us out of where we are, will you continue to borrow? And the money that is being borrowed, why is it that nobody is giving us account, as people, as a nation, what the monies are being used for? So if the government is saying, oh, we can't subsidize this, we can't do this, then the government should not go borrowing, so that everybody in Nigeria will feel it. Countries that you've had leaders who have worked hard to bring their country, like Singapore, their leaders were models, they were role models. They were doing what they were preaching. So you cannot sit back and say, oh, we are servicing debt, and yet you're still borrowing more. Please, it doesn't make any sense. Now, regarding the issue of management, honestly speaking, yes, there's nothing wrong with asking people to manage. What is Mr. President himself managing? Those in government are managing. You don't ask people to, you're a father, you're asking your children not to watch television, or you're in your room watching the same television. You must be able to say, don't do this. And you be in the forefront of not doing it. I totally disagree with Chris when he talks about greed. And then when people talk of the poorest of the poor, I keep asking, where is the database? Where is the database of the poorest of the poor? Without database, and you're talking about poorest of the poor, you're making mockery of it. I do not think that any reasonable person that has enough or has what to eat will put their life on the line just because they want to get maybe 1 cup of rice or 2 cups of rice. No. I am a very realistic person. I run a fashion, I deal with people. I'm there on the street, so I know what it is like. People are going through a lot, people are hungry. So let us not use English to placate it, oh, poorest of the poor. No. People are truly hungry. And it has never been this bad country. This is Nigeria. People are going to be sharing things during Christmas. Before now, you've never had anything like a stampede. You know why? Because a lot of people had enough to eat that they didn't need to go out to look for something to eat. Do you know how many children are out of school? Do you know? We should think seriously. The thing is, I keep saying, those in power must begin to think as if there's no box. You're asking people to sacrifice. Are you doing the same? You're asking people, oh, be patient. Are you also doing the same? Your president was in Lagos the other day in VI. Nobody moved. It was disaster. Manpower lost because of the entourage that was following him. We need our leaders to walk the walk and not just talk the walk.
Thank you very much, Prince.
Thank you so much
for that response. Like I said, well, I want to take it from you on the aspect where he said it's not entirely good, you don't want to believe, and that's because one of the people, the NGOs, is involved in so many NGOs, they have to feed a lot of people, and sometimes, you know, when they go out thinking they're going to feed 5,000, they end up finding out they have to add extra because they're actually people who need this food.
Sorry, please. The politicians stealing from the poor, are they not super rich? They're not 10 billionaires, but yet they still steal the money that belongs to the poor. So these are super rich people that say, what is that? That's greed.
That's greed, true.
People go to parties and want to take as many plates as possible.
Ooh.
That's greed.
Shake that table.
That's greed.
So
when people hear that they're sharing something here, they're palliative here and there, people just to think that's greed. Not because they don't have it at home, not because they can afford it, but they just want to have it, just to grab. It's a greed mentality. You can't take that away.
Okay, but I honestly, actually, it's very, I totally take what you said, but it's almost, I do not want to believe, I choose not to actually believe that you will leave your house or not sleep in your house and be as early as 3 a.m. to get some cups of rice, which you're not even certain that you would get.
People will actually do it.
I find that hard to believe. Yeah, there are people who are greedy, but I find that hard
the people scooping oil. Those scooping oil when Tanga falls out of that. You think they are the poorest of the poor?
They're actually not.
You think they're the poorest of the poor? We need to tell ourselves some truth. Hard truth, bitter truth. There is greed in the system. As a nation, there is greed running in our blood as Nigeria. And average Nigerian is greedy.
But not just in average Nigeria. I think naturally humans are greedy.
But Nigerians are super on the road.
How you've been able to control yours and be contented with what you have. Because I want to believe we have some level of greed, let's be honest, as humans. It just depends on how much you can do and how much people can see through you and say you're being greedy. I just want to believe that. But now, like you said, politicians, you can't call those ones, you don't even call it greed. We need to look for another name to call it. That is not greed. That is definitely beyond greed. But anyways, we can't take any more. We can't take any more reactions. But hopefully, all we're trying to do here is just to make sure that things get better. We'll try to make sure that you're getting the right points and you're getting the right information. At the same time, if you have gone it wrong before, we can always fine-tune your idea of how things should work and give you a good information. But I want to appreciate you, Chris, for coming despite
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Right, you said no, I'm going to
I fought through the system.
yes,
You know?
Thank you so much for coming, and thank you, Prince Chilaka Francis, for joining us on the show. We do appreciate you, and you've been one of our favorite right time when we still had Mapi. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us.
Thank you for joining us, sir.
You're welcome.
Okay, and that's it. We'll call it today.